Coming to Curiosity Stream, go on an adventure 66 million years in the making with Dino Week. From new discoveries about the dinosaurs we thought we knew, to the mind-blowing species still being unearthed, and the controversial discovery that could rewrite history. Did dinosaurs survive longer than imagined? Dino Week on Curiosity Stream. And with monthly, annual, and bundled pricing plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is Matt and Amanda with Deep Woods Paranormal, coming to you from Bryan, Texas. Today we're going to be talking about our most recent experience where we investigated up in the Sam Houston National Forest. We were actually invited by a gentleman named Bob. He runs a Facebook group for Bigfoots here in Texas, and he was nice enough to allow us to come over and meet with them and a couple of his friends, and we kind of did a investigation. We went one way and they went another, and we basically had a great time and really enjoyed working with them. So what we did was we kind of took a parabolic dish, an audio recorder, thermal, everything you would take to go up and do an investigation for Bigfoots, bats, you name it, we probably had it. And,
voice recorder.
Right. Voice recorder and stuff like that. So I gave the parabolic dish to Amanda because she has better hearing than I do. And I asked her to kind of focus in on where she was hearing activity. And she did experience a few things, so I'm going to give her a chance to kind of talk about that.
Okay. First, I want to talk about driving up to the investigation, only because it was unusual because the forest where we went, it took us a long time to get there because we kept getting lost because it was dirt roads. So there was dirt roads and this potholes and not a lot of people around, so it was like a perfect place to go Bigfoot hunting. Lots of trees, there was water nearby, and this is a place where people hunt for deer, so it was just a really good location. First off, so it took us a while to actually find where Bob and his friends were, and then once we found them, they were set up in a perpendicular to a clearing, and there was trees all the way around, and so we kind of sat by our cars for a while and decided that we were going to go off in two different teams. So one team was going to go to the forest to the right, and then Matt and I were another team, and we went to the forest kind of up to the left. And so we set up our camera. I had the parabolic dish, and then we had the camera with us, and then we had the voice recorder. Oh, it took me a while to remember what it was. Anyways, we set up our video there, and right away we started hearing stuff. Well, I started hearing stuff on the parabolic dish. Now, if you don't know what a parabolic dish is, it amplifies sound when you point it in the direction of the sound. So, and then you wear headphones, and I was hearing. What was weird is I started hearing walking in the woods, and I wasn't pointed at the direction of the other team. Let's just make that clear. I was pointed away from the team that was on our right. And the walking that I was hearing didn't sound like a person, meaning when you normally step, there's a whole bunch of deadfall in the forest. You couldn't hear the deadfall. I was hearing steps, but not the crunch of deadfall or like the shuffle of human feet. So it was really interesting, and it was getting louder coming towards us. So, and then when that happened, there was less sound in the forest. You know how noisy a forest is. I mean, you got the crickets and the cicadas and all this stuff were going on at night. And as the walking, or what I was hearing, it sounded like walking, was coming towards us, less noise of the other noise was happening. Because with a parabolic dish, the crickets and the cicadas sound like they're screaming.
Yeah, the parabolic dish amplifies things quite a bit. It allows you to hear on sounds that you normally couldn't hear with your normal hearing. Now, when she was doing that, she was saying, I'm hearing something walking through the bush. And for Amanda to hear something like that is unusual for her because she doesn't usually have experiences with Bigfoots. So
I've never had an experience.
Right, she's never had an experience. And she's never actually seen one yet. But she's very open to the idea. And as I always say, I want her to have an experience before she believes.
Well, and then also the other thing that I was hearing is I started to hear howling in the distance. So even if I took the headphones off to try to hear the howling at the beginning of the investigation, because I was hearing it in the parabolic dish, but you could tell it was far away. And then, but when I took the headphones off, I couldn't hear the howling. So it was pretty far away, the howling that I was hearing. So there isn't any known wolves in the Houston National Forest. So there is coyotes, but it didn't sound like a coyote. It sounded more like a wolf. And the reason why I know that is that we have a wolf sanctuary actually just an hour outside of town, in which that we visited, and so and you could the wolves calling there, you could hear them. So it sounded more similar to a wolf than it did coyote. So I thought that was interesting as well, during that. So we were out there like an hour in our location, and we tried tree knocks, and we tried what else did we try, babe?
Yeah, we used the thermal. We were doing several tree knocks. I actually did some whoops, and that actually didn't get any responses for some strange reason. Normally whoops kind of get some kind of something. I do remember when I did that, it looked like something had come right up within like 10 or 15 feet of where we were, and as soon as I pulled the thermal up to look at it, it ducked behind a tree. So, and it looked more, it was huge, whatever it was. It looked like it was on all fours, but it was probably at least 4 feet tall, down on all fours. So it was big, whatever it was. It looked like almost like a bear, but there's no bears in the Sam Houston National Forest. So a little bit of background if you're not from Texas. The Sam Houston National Forest is a very large area. It covers miles of forest out here. There's a couple of forests over in that area, but it goes basically from the central Texas area almost all the way over into East Texas, Louisiana border, and it goes from like down on the coast almost all the way up to like halfway up to Dallas. So it's a big forest. It's not small. Essentially, people have been reporting Bigfoot in this area for a long time. In fact, Daniel Boone supposedly had a Bigfoot encounter in this forest back in the day. This is like a couple hundred years ago. And supposedly there's a picture of a Bigfoot being hung by its ankles with Civil War soldiers standing in front of it. They actually supposedly shot and killed it.
Can't see.
So...
that's my dog.
Sorry, the dog's chasing the cat. So essentially, yeah, we just, we've heard reports from this location forever. I follow this Facebook group. It's a Bigfoot group on Facebook, and they basically go in quite often. A lot of people have reported sightings around this area. I kind of followed the BFRO, and then other witnesses had actually come through and reported some things as we were kind of setting up this investigation, this joint investigation, and they made comments on under the expedition to help us find where the Bigfoots possibly were. The location we went to, and I'm not going to disclose it because we're still going to be doing more research up in this area, and I don't want other people showing up and basically trying to mess with us or hoax us or whatever. But very few people knew where we actually were.
I didn't even know where we were.
Yeah.
Got so lost.
Yeah. So essentially the whole idea behind it was we were telling people we were going to one area, and we actually ended up going over to another area just because we didn't want anybody messing with our investigations. So, that's what we ended up doing. And Bob, who was with us, actually did have an actual sighting. He said that he saw one basically on its tummy get up and turn and walk away. It looked right at him and then turned and walked away. And what was interesting is it seemed like there was maybe a couple groups of Bigfoots, maybe one over by them and one over by us. And I honestly thought I saw something come out of the brush and walk across the road because we were standing right next to a road in the clearing where we were. And it literally ran out halfway into the road, and then basically as soon as I saw it, it basically turned and jumped back. It only took like 2 steps. It literally stepped out halfway into the road, which is crazy.
Well, what I thought was interesting about that, one, I didn't see it again. I always miss out. But 2, Bob had stated that where he saw Bigfoot, where he saw what he thought was Bigfoot, was in between us and them. In a clearing. So, and I don't know if it was exact the same time that Matt saw this thing crossing the road, but I thought that was an interesting coincidence.
Right. So essentially, what happened was we were in 2 different areas. I mean, if you drew like a V, we went out one way and they went out another. We were probably about 300 or 400 feet from each other, maybe a football field or more, and we were going back and forth. We would do a tree knock, and then they would do a tree knock, and then we would do a call, and then they would do something else. We couldn't hear the tree knocks they were making, but they could kind of hear ours because we were using a little bat that makes a really cool noise. It sounds just like what I've heard them do when they make tree knocks. So this just went back and forth for an hour. And after we were done, we basically turned around and walked back to base camp.
Saw a really huge spider.
Yeah. And so always seems to be some kind of spider story with every Bigfoot investigation.
Well, we're in the woods. Of course there's going to be spiders. Let's just be real. It seems like
we always run into those renegade, crazy, I'm going to kill you spiders.
It was huge. It was like the size of a golf ball.
Yeah, huge spider. The body was about the size of a quarter. But I love spiders. I love seeing them.
You're crazy.
Yeah. But I don't like it when they start chasing us or trying to get after us.
It actually just sat there and let me take photos of it. I don't know.
Oh, that's another story. That's one from Joe's camp. And maybe we'll tell that story another time if people are creeped out by spiders.
That was a kamikaze spider attack.
That thing. Oh my God.
But anyways, you digress. Let's continue on the story. So we go back to the site and we kind of made the campsite. And we were sitting around and I still had the parabolic dish on. Well, what we didn't mention is that when we were over in our area, we kept hearing a bird. And Bob says they're whippoorwills. Whippoorwills? What are they called, babe?
That sounds about correct.
Whippoorwills or something like that, birds. Wrong, someone can correct us and later, whatever. Anyways, so we were hearing this bird. Remember, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and this bird is just yelling. It's just going on, and it's so loud. And really, really loud. And so I'm like, this is weird for a bird to... It sounded like it was really close to us. I was like, this is kind of weird for a wild bird to be this close to us. And as we were walking, like, we walked away, and then we went back to camp with the other Bob and his friends, that bird followed us. And then it was like in like where we were, and I kept trying to find it with the thermal. I couldn't find it with the thermal. I kept trying to find it just with we had night vision binoculars, and I tried to find it with that. Like, I couldn't find this bird, but it was close. It was so loud. And so one of the theories that we're throwing around is that possibly it could be Bigfoot, and that's what's following us. I mean, I don't know very many birds, unless they're domesticated, that follow you. I mean, like parrots that are in the wild that came from people's houses, those kind of birds follow you. But, like, if you start looking at the other birds around you, they don't follow you, like the robins and the other yellow-belly birds that are out here in Texas. They don't follow you, they run from you. So I just thought that was interesting as well.
Well, here's what was strange. It was like multiple birds. It started in one
it was like echoing each other.
And then it was like 30 feet away, and then it was like 60 feet away, and then it got a little more distant, and then you could barely hear it. And it just continued on. It kept doing the same pattern. It was like...
That's not really the sound.
It was different than that, but it just...
Yeah.
It get the general idea. It just went, it was one that was real close to where we were camping. As soon as I got the thermal and walked over to where it was, it stopped.
Yeah, but why couldn't we ever find it on the thermal? That's what was bothering me.
Yeah.
Because we did find an owl. Like, I saw an owl in the tree that, normally owls are not too afraid of people, but they stay. They don't follow you. I was really bothering me that I couldn't find this bird.
Yeah, and it started when we were over doing our investigation, when we were doing the tree knocks. That's when it first started.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, they're here. It's a human. It's just, they were basically passing on some kind of message, I believe.
That's one of our theories.
Yeah. There's no proof of it yet, but it just, if you watch the show when it comes out in a couple weeks here, I just think that it was just like following us. And
it was. I mean,
it was like,
whatever it was, if it was a bird, it was following us, and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it started to get closer, and as soon as I got up with the thermal, it just stopped, and then it disappeared. And when it restarted, it was like another 10 or 15 feet away, but it sounded like it was right on the road, real close to where we were. And then as soon as I got up and turned around, it would stop, and then it would dissipate. And as soon as I turned back around in my chair, it would start right back up. And then I could have sworn we could see through the clearing where Bob and his group had gone. I could have sworn I saw something very large and hairy, because I could see the outline of this thing. You could see the hair. You could see through the trees. It wasn't that dark. It was dark, but it wasn't that dark. You could see through the trees that basically something had gone by. It was just really quick.
Well, after Bob said that he had the encounter, I did not take my eyes off of that location with the binoculars. Not the night vision binoculars and the Paranormal dish. I had it trained over there for I don't know how long we were still there, because it was getting really late and we wanted to drive back. We didn't want to stay camping because I'm old and don't want to camp if I don't have to. Yeah, no, but seriously, I don't want to camp if I don't have to. But I was looking hard. Like, I was trying to see something. I mean, I never see anything. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, Bigfoots they're that way. They're ninjas. They know their environment so well. And I believe that they can see the IR. So when you're shining that IR towards them, I mean, we've gotten lucky a couple times with that camera, but unfortunately, what was strange is the SIM card. As soon as I downloaded the SIM card, I found the image, and as soon as I tried to pull it off there, the SIM card had to be basically formatted for some reason. It was the strangest thing. We got a Bigfoot on this night vision binoculars because they record, but yet as soon as they as soon as I got it downloaded and I clipped that clip, it wouldn't let me take it off there, and then the card had to be formatted, which was really strange. So I lost that piece of evidence.
Well, I'm just wondering if, that one footage that we got at Joe's camp, I wonder if that Bigfoot is really like the Predator. Like, I know it sounds so ridiculous, but when in that video it looks like it can be invisible.
Well, in that video on the trail cam, there was about 30 clips off that trail cam. And before that clip happens, there was a very large deer up there, at least a 10-pointer.
And you saw the deer completely clearly. That's why I was like, okay, the same camera got the Bigfoot footage that what we believe is Bigfoot, but it looks like the Predator, but it green. Like, I don't know if you've seen the Predator movies.
What you don't see on that video is there's another 3 or 4 clips where we thought that Bigfoot had zigzagged back up into the tree line. It didn't. It actually stays there, and after it shows itself, it's leaning out, like leaning down. If you haven't watched the video, the YouTube show of Joe's camp, this is what we're talking about. We're kind of spoiling it for you. Wait till the very end. There's a lot of evidence on that. It's almost all it's like 95% evidence that show of Bigfoots. A lot of activity, a lot of strange things happen. This happened over like a year and a half's time. But essentially at the end, we caught something on trail cam.
And what bothers me most...
What you didn't see on that show was there's 3 or 4 more clips where this thing, actually you can see it standing behind a tree, and you see it move back and forth. You can see the body move back and forth, and it doesn't look as green. I think the camera may have picked up a little bit of the tint or something from the trees. Maybe it blurred a little bit of the color onto the Bigfoot, but it looks more brown when you look at it. Joe says that he knows exactly which one got caught because he sees them all the time. In fact, he just recently had a sighting where he had 7 of them. He caught 7 or 8 of them on a camera, on one of his DVR cameras, and he took a picture of it and sent it to me, so it's a picture of a picture. But I showed Amanda, and you can clearly see one of them. It's just standing in the clearing.
Well, that picture looks like something brown.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that if what we caught was a Bigfoot, then there's a possibility that they can be standing right there and you're not seeing them.
Yeah, well, they look like trees.
It's green.
Yeah, not to get away from...
But anyway, let's go back to the Sam Houston Forest. They can go back and watch that video. But that's what bothers me, is that I haven't seen anything, and maybe that's the reason why.
Well, what Joe said was that one, he's seen it, it's blonde, but yet it has like moss growing in its fur. So it makes me wonder, if maybe it has, maybe they use that for camouflage. But they're super good at just staying super still. And like I was saying earlier, on the trail cams, there was 3 or 4 little pics where you could actually see it moving behind that tree after it ducks back behind that tree. I thought it zigzagged up the way.
You're still talking about Joe's camp. Go back to the Houston Forest.
I'm trying to use that as an example.
Well, yeah, I get it,
and then also at Joe's camp, one thing that also didn't get onto Joe's show was the fact that he has a road that goes up to the back of his property. And I was literally sitting there eating a sandwich with Joe sitting next to me, and I looked up, I'm like, wait, what? Joe, is there a tree in the middle of that road? And he looked up at it, and we both looked at it for a second. It was probably about 100, 200 feet away. And he's like, no, there's no tree up there. So I actually had a pair of binoculars, not the night vision, but just a normal pair of binoculars. And I pulled them out, and I looked over there. I'm like, oh, my God, that's a damn Bigfoot. It had one arm up, the other one arm back, almost, and it had his legs kind of spread out like it was like I think I caught it mid-step or something. It just froze, and its head was turned towards me. So I could actually see the face. And when I started studying this thing, I'm like, holy crap, I could see the mouth. I could see it just looked like just a normal gorilla, but it had hair all around its mouth except for where the lips and stuff were. I could see, and then I looked up at the eyes. The eyes were massive, and it was just a big black eye with a white center, and it was just interesting. It was like the size of a baseball, and so just really interesting. But if I had glanced up and noticed it looking like, wondering why there was a tree in the middle of the road, I would have never known. It would have just probably disappeared 2 seconds later, and I would have never seen it. But that was a really cool one. I could actually see the hair on the face. I could see the eye. It was really strange. Really cool encounter, but a very strange one. So.
But we're talking about the same Houston National Forest.
I'm just explaining how hard it is to actually tell what a Bigfoot looks like out in the forest.
Right.
I mean, they could be standing there in a clearing, and you would think they're a tree because they just know how to look like a tree. Their fur is so close to the colors of everything. You could just stand there and not even notice one. That's why I think Amanda hasn't had an encounter yet, or maybe she's seen one. She may have seen one, but she just didn't realize what it was. And I think that's what happens a lot of the time, is that these things, they're hard to see, and people don't even realize they're seeing them until they move. 90% of the time, they just don't move. So, anyways, let's wrap this up.
Wrap it up.
That's what I said. Let's wrap this up. I think that location is definitely a place we're going to be going back to. Like I said, I don't want to give out too much information. I know Bob is probably going to go back there as well. Maybe we'll do a little more coordination with him, which would be awesome. I really enjoyed working with him and the people that he had. There was 5 of us in total, and we all kind of experienced something. Can't exactly say it was Bigfoot, but we definitely experienced some strange stuff.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was enjoyable. If it wasn't so dang hot, it would have been a lot more fun. So.
Yeah, it was really hot.
Yeah.
Even though it was 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. It was like 90 degrees out with 100% humidity or something up in that area. But it was a cool location. I think that maybe in the future we'll probably rent like an RV or something and go up there for a couple of days and camp out in that little area. And
yeah, I wouldn't mind RV camping.
Right. Go up into that area, and there's a couple other places a couple people said we have to check out, but that area is not even close to our campground. It's out in the middle of nowhere. So basically we had to GPS where we were going to get, we had to drop a pin to where we were going.
Yeah.
And even then, I don't know if you're from Texas, you know how bad GPS is out here. I mean, sometimes it takes you completely opposite way of where you're supposed to be going.
Driving circles for a while.
Yeah, exactly. So,
anyways,
but we appreciate you guys listening. Thank you so much for listening to us jaw on about our Bigfoot experience. Like I said, the show should be out. The Sam Houston National Forest video should be, still got California on the brain, should be out in probably a couple weeks. Our Slender Man video should be coming out here by the next week. And then, of course, this podcast, the video podcast, will be out probably in the next 3 or 4 days. So,
and we want to thank you for your patience. We both have full-time jobs, so we do try to get the podcast out on Thursdays. Unfortunately, we've been late the last couple weeks, and we apologize.
Yeah, well, we've been doing investigations, and we've been doing so many collaborations with so many people for ghost hunting Bigfoot, and we're working on other things too. A lot of cool content coming down the line here. We're going to be getting into some amazing locations here. That's all in the process of being set up. We're bringing in new members and stuff, so we're doing a lot of training with new members. And just a lot of stuff going on. We're about to blow this up. So we're going to be going crazy here in the next 2 or 3 months. We're going to have so much content for you guys, not only with the podcast, but also with the shows. And it's just going to get better and better. So we're excited. We hope you're excited. And again, thank you so much for all of your patience and for supporting us. And we really appreciate you guys. So with that said, thank you guys very much. And we'll hear you on the next podcast.
Thank you. Have a great night.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.